Who am I talking with?
Rich Marble.
And what does Rich Marble do?
I'm a practicing attorney by day, and at night I'm a legal tech guy. I'm trying to be anyway.
And where are you from?
From Central Illinois, so Bloomington, halfway between Chicago and St. Louis.
I know where it is.
Yeah, the cornfields of McLean County is what I would say.
I'm from Wisconsin.
I saw that.
From La Crosse, and so I was in Illinois, I think, last year. Is it Southern Illinois University?
Southern Illinois is Edwardsville. It's further south. Yeah. You made a good idea getting out of Wisconsin and going to Seattle.
Well, somebody told me it was my first company, and they said that's an interesting idea, but the chances of somebody giving you the millions of dollars you're going to need to do that in Wisconsin, they put a little dot on a piece of paper, and then you do a big circle, and he goes, you know what that is? And I said, I'm starting to have that idea. He goes, you go to Austin, Seattle, San Francisco, or Boston, that's how many people will back that idea. Right. So I was really, became that
strategic.
I had to do that. What do you guys do? I mean, what are you trying to build at night? It's got you away from practicing law for part of the night.
So we're building an analytics platform for attorneys, right? Built by attorneys, and the goal is to provide, better dashboard visualization with respect to what lawyers do on a day-to-day basis. So really looking for those metrics that will drive their law firm, not necessarily for top-line revenue, but where they can get the most efficiency, the most bang for their buck, the most utility out of the time that they have.
So what data are you collecting?
Well, right now we have the Clio user integration.
Okay.
So coming out of Clio, we use basically all the data coming out of Clio. So
fascinating.
Time entries, timekeepers, expenses, payments, invoices.
All masked. You're just getting the data.
All of it.
Right.
I mean, we use all of it.
That's amazing. So Clio is a can-do. And how do you draw that? Do they have an API that you're drawing that from?
They have an API. So we're an integrated partner, and we pull their API data. And we have some other integrations, of course, but basically the time or the data that right now that we're.
When did you get that idea?
As I was growing my firm, I had some problems with managing what I call the spinning plates.
Right.
So I needed a way to better manage my own internal operations. So I hired a project manager, and we started to play around with pivot tables and spreadsheets and CSV downloads. And then I started to think about the types of data that I've been collecting for 20 years within law firms and my law firm practices. And I came to the conclusion that most of the data that's collected is somewhat similar. It's the 80-20 rule. So if I could take advantage of 80% of the data that's the same and provide high-level metrics based on that data, then I should be able to connect to a variety of different platforms because 80% of the data collection is the same.
So when you're drawing this information off of all of Clio's data, which is a huge amount of data that you have access to, what happens and how does that productize back out to a firm, or how do they use that information?
Right. So once the integration is made, they get sign-in for FirmTRAK, which is a separate web program, right? Software as a service. So it's a separate program. They open up the portal. They set up their user-defined variables and targets. So at that point, we're putting in full-time equivalencies. So basically, we're trying to get into team management and what your capacity is as far as how many employees, how many people you have able to work. And then once you identify that, then we do resource cost. From costing, then we can do billing targets and projections. And then once we get those parameters put into the system, there's some accounts receivable information that we're playing with, and they can set up variables. But once we get the variables set up, then that data is then transformed and lays on top of the Clio data to provide a dashboard that we call FirmTRAK Visualize.
So is the Clio data some sort of baseline that they can compare to, or what? I'm trying to understand what's the relationship between the Clio data and the data that the firm is sharing as far as their metrics.
Right. Well, the data that the firm shares is the Clio data. So if you have a user base that has 5 attorneys and 4 paralegals, we're pulling all of the metrics for the 5 and the 4
already from Clio.
Already from Clio.
Okay.
And then we lay our variables on top
of it.
Okay,
so these are Clio users that then you're doing, and you're creating something on top of what Clio already has available.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Now I get it. I was thinking somehow the data.
No. Like our goal is to lay on top of the data providers to be the best analytics platform for attorneys. Period.
And how do the potential customers hear of FirmTRAK and the opportunity to work with you based on the fact that they're a Clio customer? Do you just go out and contact them? Do you have a list of Clio customers? How does it all work?
Well, reaching the customer is the hard part in the legal segment. So right now it's social media is the way. We're a direct integration with Clio, so if you search under metrics and like assessment tools within the Clio space, we're on the dashboard, so they can make the direct integration that way. We're trying to develop, strategic partnerships with.
Okay, so you're doing it the other way. It's not like you got this list of Clio customers and you're all contacting.
I mean, no. Look, I wish Clio would give us customers, but they're not doing that quite yet. I'll talk with him about it.
I'm sitting there as an integration partner, and I'm going, what does this guy have that I don't have available?
Right. I want to get access to. No.
You'd be telling me, gee, each one of their salesperson mentions me.
I'm trying to get that done, actually. Enough incentives, and we'll see. But no, they're not sharing their list with us. I wish, but but we're following. There's user groups. I
know it is. Yeah,
just static ways.
It's a good idea and a good product. What you're creating. What have been the challenges? Maybe it's getting a hold of those customers and potential customers, but what's been the biggest challenge for you?
Well, I think part of the biggest problems that we have with legal tech in general is the momentum of old habits. So finding lawyers that are willing to embrace change in a way that can generate a lot of ROI for them, without looking at the small incremental dollar cost to see what the long-term value play is. So the momentum of habits, old habits, is hard.
Have you ever been, in the time that you've been practicing law, have you ever run a company or done a company on the side before this?
No, I haven't.
Why? And so why you? I mean, really, okay, there's a lot of other lawyers that practice law like you did across this country.
Right.
And here it is, you that goes,
Right. Like, how odd is that, right?
I could take the way that I do things, leverage this data at Clio, and create a company. I mean, why you? What was in your DNA?
I don't know if it was just something that I'm always a proponent of highest and best use.
Right.
So I want to try to get the most value out of the time that I have available in the day, considering all the other balances that I had. So my goal, honestly, was to try to produce a product that provided me less stress, more free time, more revenue.
Right.
So when I started to look at it, I had some things aligned with respect to people and capabilities and capacities, and I knew enough about data and statistics that I was able to think about how I could apply it.
So it was almost like, why not?
Yeah, it was almost by why not.
Yeah.
And in my presentation, I indicated that I was doing I looked for a solution, right? I tried to find one and I couldn't. So I went ahead and I took the time and the effort to try to put one together.
I mean, it's almost how every entrepreneur I talked to over the years, it's the same thing. I went to look, like for me, somebody tells me I'm the national leader on blogs for lawyers at some speaking event in San Francisco, and I'm what are they talking about?
It's crazy.
I'm paying $4.95 a month for this thing, and people come up and say, "Can you help me do what you're doing?" I'm thinking, "Shit, I'm scared you found my blog. I got to find somebody to help me and make it look good and tell me what I'm doing."
I'm terrified that maybe I'm not doing this right.
Because I don't have a clue. And the best I could find, seriously, there was a woman in Florida, and she goes, "I can only help you via email because I got kids that are loud, so we can't ever talk on the phone." I'm thinking, well, that probably ain't going to work for these large firms that ask me to help them.
I completely understand the fear that you had at that time. Believe me, I would have never thought that I would be here doing all of this.
No, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, you think you're speaking, these people are listening to you?
Yeah.
How'd that all happen? Yeah. What's been the real high? What's been the most rewarding?
I guess the most rewarding is certainly the Clio launch. Finalist. When you get a call from Clio and they said, at 80 integrations, and you're one of the top 5, and you can present. So it was a high when I found out that I was going to be top 5. It was somewhat of a low, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've got to get a 4-minute pitch. So to come around with that, but basically the recognition that we have from Clio has been huge, and really the positive feedback. We've been slammed.
It's great.
People are clamoring, I think, for data and data analytics, and trying to get deep insights.
Well, you have Jack and the team constantly talking about it, and be able to use information so that you can get more value out of your life.
Right.
It's the rare lawyer. I always was. So let's find out what we're the best at, and let's do those things and reduce all the other static from our lives. Right. And let's not have a lawyer do what a lawyer's not required to do, and not to demean anybody, but we could have other people doing things that are more fun that other lawyers are doing.
Right. Well, this has totally got me back to enjoying my practice. I mean,
Which is great.
Outside of what I've been doing with FirmTRAK, my practice, I've been enjoying my practice more with the balance that I've been able to achieve. So it's been helpful that way. And then just the opportunity to help lawyers. I mean, I'm a small lawyer. You know, I'm a solo practitioner, and I wanted to create a tool that provided value to other small lawyers to have the ability to use technology in ways that larger law firms are using it. I knew that there was a way that they could do it, and I'm kind of passionate about that space because I never was like large law and had like huge discretionary budgets.
Who did the first, coding and technology work for you? Were you able to do it, or you got somebody to help you?
No, I've had someone help me. So
Right.
we've done some, we got the pivot tables and Excels, and then we started to think about how we could use the data in combination. Right. So I've had certainly, you stand on the shoulders of those that are around you. So I'm certainly reaping the benefits of many of the talents that I have on the team.
And like 5 and 10 years ago, you weren't familiar with APIs and how you call them.
It's funny, I'm in conversations and I start talking about APIs like I know what I'm talking about, and I really don't. You fake it until you make it, I guess.
No, we were just, talking about that with somebody else, the nomenclature that, lawyers were sitting here using these things, and it's real. We know some basic things. We don't know. I can't code.
Right. I can't code. I cannot code.
So I can't do that thing. But that's a great thing that you said. I mean, you're a solo lawyer serving small area, and now you have a technology company that you're running while you're still practicing, which I bet a year from now you're going to say, I don't know if I can keep the practice going or it was closed.
I hope maybe it'll open some opportunities long term for us.
And you're reaching people nationally, if not internationally.
Oh yeah,
that are your customers.
Right. We have users all over the country, all over the world,
which is great.
At this point, Hong Kong. We got.
It's very cool.
It's super exciting. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, it's a great story.
No, I appreciate that.